So it has been 2 years since Spider-Man 2 first got released, and if you really had to describe Spider-Man 2 as a cake, it would be a little bit sweet and the other part would be very sour, because that is how diverse the fan base of this game really is. And yes, a lot of people still have problems with it in 2025, saying it's not a good game, but of course the gameplay is just still there, which is always going to be a plus. But can you really grumble at the Sandman boss fight at the start of the game? Like, come on now.
So good.
You really gotta remember some of the hype that this game had produced on launch. When people saw Venom at the announcement trailer back in 2021, they fully lost it. When they saw the symbiote gameplay trailer, they fully lost it. And not to mention, it still takes the crown for the most sold PlayStation game of all time on the PS5. To which 2 years later, it still holds that title.
So good.
And while a lot of people talk about how great the gameplay is, it really is the story that really holds it back. Really where the story fails is its writing. For a good example, I would say that the symbiote suit really wasn't used as much as it should have been. I think if the symbiote came just a little bit earlier, I think the game would have been a lot better story-wise. But I gotta say the black suit boss fights are definitely a redeeming factor of Spider-Man 2. Two of the best I'd say is definitely Lizard and also Kraven, because there was just so much stake with Kraven. He was gonna actually kill Kraven if it wasn't for Miles. And when you go full sicko mode with the symbiote suit one final time and then hand the symbiote over back to Harry, it feels like Venom just wasn't in the game that much. And I guarantee you if the symbiote suit was actually introduced a lot sooner, then we would have had a lot more Venom runtime. And having the symbiote introduced a lot sooner into the story would have implemented into more drama between MJ, Miles, Harry and also Peter. But that really is just me. What do you guys think down below? And considering that Venom is also in fact playable, I gotta give him the
so good.
But when it comes to all of these supporting characters, Miles Morales really has some of the best scenes in this game. You saw how he evolved throughout the first game, and you finally see him as a Spider-Man working alongside Peter Parker. And he really does have a lot of independence throughout the game. He has his own side missions, he does have a lot of things he does with Genki, but it is really just whatever and whenever he wants. He even faces off against Mysterio, which I think would have been more of a Peter thing rather than a Miles thing, but hey ho, it happens. But his relationship with Peter Parker really does take the cake here. The two Spider-Men in this game really do have a bittersweet relationship, especially when Harry Osborn is introduced. And while that tension does last a long time, it does hurt even more when you see them fight at the end of the game. And this really just has some of the most heart-wrenching stuff that you'd probably ever hear in your life. And despite the flawed writing throughout Spider-Man 2, I really think this scene is a 10 out of 10 in its own place.
Pause anymore, man! And what about MJ? You could have killed her! I know you're hurting, Pete, but you're better than this!
I know, but no.
Outside of the suit, I think Miles does an even better job at trying to balance himself as being a superhero while trying to be a devoted son. And everything that was good about Miles Morales is really cranked up to 10 right here. And even wrapping up old storylines that we saw in Miles Morales, such as his uncle with Prowler, I think that was also a very good scene. Of course, in Spider-Man 2, Mary Jane actually has a gun this time, and we're not actually sneaking around doing random stuff, and it seems like there's a lot more purpose to her character in this game. She does help out when Peter gets stabbed and also at the final battle, which I think all three of them working together is definitely the icing on the cake for the ending. And the Scream boss fight is really where it kinda ends very abruptly, and I think it definitely could have used it without any of that, and also minus the 19 inches of Venom. And Kraven really just deserves his own spot in this list because he is just an absolute powerhouse in this game. But where I'll draw the line is this, where he actually ends up killing most of the Sinister Six members such as Rhino and also Scorpion off screen. It just feels like he's just trying to not die, but as soon as Venom comes around, he's dead. So in my honest opinion, I think Kraven should have went out with a bigger bang rather than just getting his head bitten off. But when it comes to Spider-Man 2, you really just gotta talk about this beautiful open world. Going on to be 100 times bigger than the original, they really took their time and effort to make something that they were really proud of and making this map as big as it possibly could be. Not to mention the amount of suits, the side missions and everything you can explore around this game. And being able to seamlessly switch between Peter and Miles was just a joy. Even implementing new mechanics such as the brand new spider arms and also Miles' electric ability just made that a little bit more oomph in the combat. And adding those web wings were probably the best thing that this game has ever had to offer. Being able to glide just thoroughly through the city and not having to worry about how the hell you were going to fast travel there was just a joy. Although you could just switch, but I think it's just better to use the web wings and explore as much as you could. And when it came to suits, they really just gave it all to us. They gave us the comic suits, they gave us the movie suits, they just gave us everything that anyone would have wanted in a Spider-Man game. And this is really one of the biggest reasons why Spider-Man 2 topped all of the previous prequels. Yes, the story really wasn't all there, but it also just had way better gameplay, it had a bigger map, it had more suits, and even more to do. And while everyone still continues to whine about Spider-Man 2 and say that it's just not a very good game, well, part of that really is true, but at the end of the stick you have one of the best superhero games that sold well and did extremely well with a lot of fans when it first released. So it really is up for debate whether you think that Spider-Man 2 is a good or bad game. It really is up for personal preference, and it really just made PlayStation a shit ton of money.
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Money!
So as always, I'll leave your thoughts and comments down below, and let me know what you think of Spider-Man 2 2 years later. Do you think it has aged well, or do you think Marvel's Wolverine could do a lot better in this series? But as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like down below, or if you didn't like it, change it to a trusty dislike. And as always, I'll leave the next one up on screen here. Take care, and peace.